Welcome to this week's Who the Folk podcast, sponsored this week by the Gold Group Realty. I'm Lonnie Goldsmith, the editor of TC Jewfolk, and this week I'm thrilled to be joined by Genevieve Parker, Jewfolk's new community engagement manager. Genevieve and I talk about what brought her to Minnesota, her Jewish journey, and what she's looking forward to as she gets started in this new position on this week's Who the Folk podcast. Genevieve Parker, welcome to Who the Folk podcast and welcome to Jewfolk Inc. Thank you for joining us on the podcast and for joining us here.
Well, hello. Thank you. It is a pleasure to be amongst you.
You are Jewfolk's new community engagement manager.
That's correct.
So how did you come to join us here at Jewfolk?
I was job hunting over the last 6 months. I moved to Minneapolis from Reno, Nevada with a partner. And I reached out to the J-Link Facebook group and got in touch with the executive director, Libby, that way. And we kind of just networked until I had a job.
So have you made the connection? I'm sure she brought it up with you, but you both have the last name Parker, and you both moved to Minnesota from Nevada?
That's correct, although it's her husband's family who are the Parkers.
That's true.
They're from Nevada. My father's family are also a set of Parkers, and they've been in San Diego since about 1850.
Wow, that's a long time.
Oh yeah, but I do have a lot of family genealogy information, and so if Libby ever wants to compare, I'm pretty sure we can figure out definitively whether we're actually related.
Oh, that would be hysterical.
Yeah, so
distant cousins or something.
I'm up for it whenever she is.
Excellent. So today is day one as we're sitting here recording this. I guess tell everybody a little bit about you and what was it about this job that matched with your experience and your passion?
Yeah, so I am a nonprofit professional of about a decade, a little bit less than, and I was looking for a job where I would have a certain range of freedom and creativity, and it would also align with my values. And so someplace that would, be an appropriate challenge for me as a new person in town who has some connection to the community to build. But I also want to keep developing as a professional. I'm also, as I told you earlier, a bit of a Jewish work in progress. And I think that being here is going to help me with my personal goals as well.
So what does being a Jewish work in progress mean, or at least mean to you?
For me, it means that I've got a family connection to Judaism. My father's family on his mother's side is all Jewish, but his mother converted to Christianity when she married my grandfather. Okay. So I grew up in, nothing for a while, but technically a Christian household for a period of time. Okay. Kind of when I was 8 to 18, we moved, and my parents started taking us to the church that my dad had been raised in, and my mom is still very connected there and has found a lot of purpose there. But it just didn't, it never really clicked all the way for me. Okay. So as an adult, I started, I kind of just disconnected and free-floated for a while, and then all of these different experiences and, just things that happened to come up for me kind of all pointed me toward you should be exploring your Jewish heritage. So I have been doing that in various capacities since 2012 or so. Okay.
What's that journey been like over the last 7-8 years?
It's been a lot of self-study, and it's involved kind of periodic clicking in with different Jewish groups and communities. Kind of my first big jump was in, I believe, 2013 or 14. I took advantage of the Birthright program and took a trip to Israel and received a lot of assurance that, yes, I had the right to be here, and yes, I was welcomed by the community. I spent a lot of time before and after that doing research online and getting connected in with groups on websites like Tumblr was a really good resource for me.
Okay.
And then after I returned from my birthright trip, I connected with a synagogue in Reno.
Okay.
And did kind of like a one-night introduction to Judaism capsule, and then a more in-depth 3-month kind of deeper dive into a year cycle in the Jewish calendar.
Okay.
And I would say that's about as far as I've gone. But like I said, I'm looking for more.
What, I guess, type of Judaism, and by that I don't mean like Reformed, Conservative, Orthodox, but is there sort of a particular, something that you're looking for in either a synagogue or a community, or is it just one of those things that you'll know it when you find it?
I do think that I'll know it when I find it, but I know that the community that I'm looking for is going to be deeply feminist.
Okay.
I know it's going to be what they call progressive. I'm looking for a space that is going to be. How do you even begin to dive in, right?
Yeah.
I would say actively involved in the kind of progressive and grassroots and the kind of community that I want to be a part of is going to involve action. It's. I mean,
that's a big. That's a big question. That's a big thing, and I think there's a lot of, I think a lot of synagogues. I mean, if you're looking for a synagogue community, that may not be ultimately what you're looking for. I know that's not what everybody is looking for. But yeah, that's a lot it's a big thing to grasp, to try to figure out where you fit in. And I mean, I think all of us, no matter, whether we've been, practicing deeply in Judaism for a long time or sort of on a more recent self-discovery path, I think we're always looking for where exactly we fit. And frankly, outside of Judaism too, probably.
Yeah. I think that what I can say for sure is that I would like to find a practice. I don't think it's going to be very deeply religious. I could be wrong. I'm open to being wrong about that. But I really appreciate aspects of Jewish culture and religion and spirituality that really blur the lines of what those things mean in kind of a culturally Christian nation, and the paradigm that I grew up amongst.
Okay.
I think I'd like to join a community where values are really put into action.
Interested in learning about commercial real estate or other investment properties for sale in the Twin Cities? The team at Gold Group Realty specializes in running the numbers and helping investors find great deals. Learn more at their website, www.thegold.group. So you mentioned that you're a nonprofit professional. What are some of the sort of stops along the way that have helped prepare you for what you're jumping into here with Jewfolk?
So I did a lot of community engagement and social media work at my last job. And the social media in particular was kind of a curveball that just happened to happen. It was as I was getting involved in 2014, social media was really becoming like a non-negotiable item for nonprofits, if not for everywhere. And so we kind of set it up, and I just ran with it and really enjoyed it because I've always been a writer and enjoyed telling stories. And I think that social media is such an interesting place to apply storytelling. And there's some new things that can be done with the medium. the way that you can bring it into real time amongst other people, and incorporate video and audio, and photograph, and to hold that with your story, and put them next to each other, and then send them out into the world, is an interesting space to be working in.
This small thing can, with like the right multimedia package around it, can really have a big impact.
Yes. Yeah. As we see pretty often.
We do.
I haven't had my viral moment yet.
I haven't either. I'm hoping one of these days. So what do you enjoy doing in your spare time? You said you were sort of mom to your dog for the last 6 months as you've settled into the Twin Cities, but does leave plenty of time. What have you enjoyed doing so far here?
So far, I have really enjoyed riding bikes around here. There are so many miles of trail, both paved and unpaved. This spring, I'm really looking forward to checking out some of the mountain biking locally, which I've heard is very fun.
That's what I've heard. I'm not a mountain. I'm more of a road biker myself, but
I've always been more of a get from point A to point B type of biker, but I do enjoy mountain biking, and I've heard that there are some really fun trails out here. Yeah,
the single track at Theodore Wirth Park, I've heard really good things about. So.
Me too. I also really enjoy cooking. Cooking was kind of the activity that my partner and I bonded over when we were going from friends to lovers.
Okay.
I really enjoy trying out new recipes, and have been finding lots of things to try while we've been out here.
Is there a style of cooking you enjoy, or genre of food that you enjoy cooking more than others?
For a number of years, I was eating pescatarian, technically, which is mostly vegetarian, but also fish.
Okay.
So I've done a lot of vegetarian cooking. I recently started incorporating some meat back into my diet. Okay. So I have been learning how to cook chicken all the way through, which to me seemed like really intimidating, but it's not that hard.
It's not, but if you've never done it, it can be trickier than you think.
Yeah, so I've really avoided that for a long time, and kind of eschewed a lot of what I think are probably popular things to make in favor of Indian food. Has a ton of vegetarian options, sure. And some Eastern Asian, Southeast Asian. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of really good vegetarian options there.
For sure.
That's kind of where a lot of my repertoire lies right now.
And if you don't want to cook, it's a great food city.
That's true. I honestly haven't got to do that much eating out yet, but I know that there are good eatings to be had.
Yes, there are. Absolutely. All right, well, last couple questions, and we'll let you wrap up here. Favorite Jewish food?
Ooh, latkes.
Do you like to make them yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Have you had better ones than you can make?
No.
I'm with you there. I make better ones than I can get most places too.
I mean, yeah, you want them to be fresh.
Absolutely.
And something that I have stolen from my mother is that she serves them with the sour cream or yogurt and the applesauce, but also a cranberry chutney.
Interesting.
It is really good.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Take your word for it. I'm a sour cream person through and through. But you said yogurt though.
Yeah. It works just as well. A lot of people consider it like a more healthy option. So.
Yeah, but if you're eating a deeply fried hunk of potato, it's like getting a Big Mac and a large fry, but a Diet Coke to make it healthy.
That's fair. I guess my answer would just be that, we always have yogurt around, but I rarely buy sour cream.
Okay, that's fair. All right. No, I mean, we'll buy it so I can have it on the latkes, and then usually if I can't cook with it, it ends up going to waste.
No, yeah, sour cream is really good, but it can be kind of hard to use.
Yes. Yeah, no, I agree. That's true. And favorite Jewish holiday?
Great question. I think that I like either Tu B'Shvat or Purim.
Okay.
But also Sukkot too because of the huts.
Okay.
I don't know yet.
Those are three sort. Purim, a lot of people say, but the other two are kind of off the books a little bit. That's interesting. We don't get that answer a lot.
Oh, well, I think that my opinion might change down the road. I think that maybe when I have dug deeper in, I might find things that I didn't realize before, and maybe even a different holiday that is even more obscure will be my favorite.
Totally fair. So actually, I lied. I do have one more question that I want to ask. Normally we end on those two. As it's your first day, working here, and my new coworker now sitting across from me, what are you most looking forward to as you sort of ramp up in this position and getting out, meeting people, and doing everything that the role entails?
Meeting people is what I'm right now most excited about. I know that there is an amazing community out here, and I'm excited to have this kind of entry point into it.
Well, excellent. Well, Genevieve Parker, thank you so much for joining us, and both on the podcast and with Jewfolk, and we are excited to get to know you and see you around in the community.
Thank you for having me, Lonnie.
Thanks so much for listening, and thanks to Gold Group Realty for sponsoring this week. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, rate, and review the show. If you have someone who you think should be on the podcast, please email me at editor@tcjewfolk.com. The Who the Folk podcast is a product of Jewfolk, Inc. and part of the Jewfolk Podcast Network. For more shows, check out tcjewfolk.com/podcast.